All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me just do one last thing here real quick, everyone. So welcome back to 𝐻_Queen's Roundtable Show. Yes, 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 I am your host, Jacqueline Harrison. We have an awesome episode for you tonight. Thank you so much for those of you that are able to join us live, as well as for those that are going to catch the replay. So I'm your host, Jacqueline Harrison. I am also your host for the 𝐻_Queen's Roundtable Show and podcast, as well as the 𝐻_Queen's Roundtable Leadership Symposium, which takes place in January, May, and September. So yes, we're having another one towards the end of this month in conjunction, or I'm going to combine it with the virtual launch for my book. I'm the visionary author of Born to Lead, Awakening the Leader Within. I am so excited. I'm just super, super excited. So what I'm doing now is, as you know, this is a little different time for me because typically we stream live on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I had added some additional shows to be able to interview some of the awesome, awesome authors, co-authors from the book anthology Undefeated by the one and only visionary author Kearn Cherry. Yes, aka the Butts in the Seats Queen. So I am so excited. So my guest today is Dr. Shirley Boykins-Bryant. I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself, Dr. Shirley, and just tell us a little bit about you and your business and where you're based out of.
Hi there, Jacqueline, a Queen's Roundtable. Well, I am from the great state of Texas, where America's team resides. That will be the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm a native of Maryland, Upper Marlboro, which I'm very proud of as well. I am the CEO and starter of Let's Talk About It, behavior counseling for youth, focusing more on youth. I have a nonprofit, Educate Our Youth. I'm all about the youth because they are our future. I am a fifth-time best-selling author, internationally speaking, and my most recent project is Undefeated. And I am so excited about this anthology for many reasons. One being that for me, it offered me the opportunity to self-reflect. My chapter title is Undefeated, Lifetime Vision, Moving Forward with a Purpose. It's often that when we have challenges or situations that occur in our lives, we look externally. Well, I choose to look internally. So my chapter focuses more on how I may have caused many of the challenges that I've had to endure to become undefeated. So I'm excited to see my chapter in that book because I believe that those words will resonate with many if we're honest with ourselves. I am an only child of a 16-year-old single parent. My father is now deceased. And I say that with great pride because my mother arose from a very humble beginning. And I am the result of that. And that in itself is being undefeated in my mind. You know, against all odds and statistics, I am who I am. But my mother is a 16-year-old high school dropout. And I tell that with great pride because we often have these conversations. And she said to me on many occasions that I could not have even fathomed that you would become the person that you are. And against all statistics, I am who I am. That is undefeated.
Wow. You know, I really, really enjoy doing this show. You know, it gives me an opportunity to meet different, powerful, resilient, adaptable, and I'm pretty sure I could come up with a lot of other words just
Absolutely.
across the globe. You know, because you said you're in Texas, and
Maryland, from Texas.
Okay. I know I heard Texas. Okay, so from Texas, but you live in Maryland, and you know this is so cool. Like us, because this is our first time meeting each other.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen. So, and you know, it's just a pleasure to be able to have you on the show and to just have you share, you know, and tell us a little bit about you and the book project. So I just want to, you know, thank you again. And I just look forward to learning a little bit more about you. So let's back up a little bit. So in terms of your business, tell
Mhm.
us a little bit more about that, and like how did that just a little bit more about like how did that come about, and how long have you been in business, and what and where you see your business going in the future.
Okay, Jacqueline. So, as crazy as it sounds, this idea came as a result of COVID. And I have a 14-year-old who was then a 12-year-old. I homeschooled him for a couple of years. The DC mayor was asking for volunteers, parents, whomever, to start behavioral coaching because of the consequences that many youth began dealing with coming out of COVID, returning to their regular school environments. And because I homeschooled my son for 2 years, and I would say this was really an honor to see firsthand some of the challenges that he had endured. So when she called, and it was a call, parents, we need you. Anyone, we need you to help us to get these children back on track to return to what we believe normalcy looked like. I was already a doctor, I'm a psychologist. And I was like, you know what? I want to give. I'm always a giver. That may be to my demise, but I'm a giver. And because I had my son, just had many opportunities to speak with him about many of the challenges that he endured being there with me, as opposed to his friends. So that became a passion because I really believe they're our future. So, and because she asked for that, I was like, you know what? I'm already trained. I'm certified. I'm on board. And because of that, I started offering counseling sessions, coaching sessions, and it became a thing. It wasn't even something I thought I would do, but it's something that I do now. And many of the schools are still asking for psychologists to coach and help these children get on board with what we think normalcy is like pre-COVID. Many children were in homes where they were abused. They were looking at shows that they typically would not have looked at prior to COVID. And once COVID was not over, but they were returned to schools, they took all of that back to the classrooms. And I had sorority sisters who were educators, and they were like, these kids are coming in here repeating the Atlanta Housewives, the verbiage. So on a normal day prior to COVID, they may not have been exposed to that type of behavior, that type of language, many of those things. But you know what? COVID happened, things happened as they were. So now we're on the track of trying to get some back to pre-COVID behavior. And it started off as me just volunteering. And then people are like, I'll just pay for it. So that's what I do. And because of my son mostly. So I was very blessed to see him daily have those conversations, ensure that he understood what was appropriate, what was not. Pre-COVID, you did not do this. And I had the opportunity to ensure that daily he didn't watch shows that I thought were not appropriate for him. So I feel like he didn't really experience a lot of that, but there were a lot of kids who did.
And it's again, I learned so much when I interview people on the show, and or just different perspectives, different ways of looking at things.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, I have one 11-year-old, and I was so glad when they went back to school because I couldn't take it.
So was I. I did what I had to do, but he is.
You know what? I was surprised that I even had any hair on my head left. So okay, so that was one thing I wanted to say. Just that, and I'm jokingly, but I'm serious.
But they needed the interaction like we did. They needed their peers to interact with the way we needed other adults to interact with.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, but the thing is, I hadn't even really, and I've interviewed a couple of educators, and it's interesting how, like you said, a lot of just so much changed with COVID. Like you said, like I'm a social worker, so I'm a licensed clinical therapist, right?
You must know.
So, right. Right. So many different things happen. People's mental health deteriorated during COVID. Like you said, some people were in abusive relationships, and spending more time with family members and because it's like, at first it was like, okay, it's nice. We get to see each other all the time. But after a while, it was like, okay, we all went to our separate rooms. It's like, I
all
don't want to
day.
talk to you no more. I'll see you tomorrow. One of those kind of things.
Absolutely.
So it's so many different changes that happen. And I could only imagine you're right in terms of the this post COVID, that readjusting. I know
Absolutely.
for my child, um, he wanted to see his friends, so he was excited about that. But then again, at the same time, it's really made him not necessarily the shows per se, but these video games.
Oh,
You
let's
know,
not begin that.
they're like, he can't even go to the bathroom without taking his iPad in there.
Absolutely.
And I think that a lot of that, and not just him, but I think a lot of the children got so accustomed to computers and iPads and their phone and all of that. So I think, just like you said, people like such as yourself are really needed to be able to help with these adjustments.
And Jacqueline, in speaking with my son, he started a Twitter account, but I'm that mom. I have eyes everywhere, back of my head, side, and I logged in somehow on his Twitter account. So I said, son, who are these people that are your friends? Well, mommy, they're my age. And I get it. Just like we needed adult conversation, they needed peer conversation.
Mhm,
And so
mhm,
I just try to have a conversation with him all the time because I understand what that's like. There are things you and I can't talk about that me and my peers can talk about. And just as we needed that, so did he.
right.
There is a side of me that feels very fortunate to have had the opportunity to experience this with him very close. And there's a side that's like, I learned way too much. But I did try to always build a relationship so that we felt closer to each other and knowing that we're here to support you through this and we're going to make it through this. This family is going to get through this. And I feel we're stronger because of it. Because even now we joke about, oh my gosh, Bray, do you remember you was coming down for school in your flip-flops and your friends had their pajamas on? So we still have the opportunity to joke about some of the things that we actually endured. So that has been such, whew, gosh, I don't even know what I want to call it. Experience.
Yeah, I mean, and it allowed me, and as well as my husband, to really get an opportunity to see how he did on a daily basis with studies. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Just when we were able to observe a lot of different things, actually watching him. Because like I would listen to the teacher, and so that way I had an idea. And believe me, it was rough because at the time I had a job and I was working from home. I was here, but again, still it was like I had one ear listening to him and what he was supposed to be doing, so I could stay on top of him, and then the other ear was like paying attention to if I was on a Zoom meeting or on a conference
Absolutely. That
call.
was my experience.
So yeah, you too. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's how we did it. He was in my office. He was in the front. I was trying to look at
Mhm.
his camera. I was trying to be on calls, but I always threatened him. Let me tell you something. I'll shut this call down if I see you not doing something right.
Okay.
It was just, I just feel like in everything, as in God's word, that may, and I can't say anybody intended it for bad, it's going to work out for our good because I feel like our relationship became so much closer. We were so in tune with each other, and the
Mhm.
opportunity to really like talk instead of run and be always moving. And I say to everyone about the whole George Floyd incident, had this not happened during COVID and we were home, I don't believe that we would have paid so much attention to that.
You think so?
I
Okay.
I know I wouldn't. I was like moving fast all the time, get on the metro, dropping him off. And then with the whole Capitol storming situation with Trump, I believe had I not been home, that wouldn't have got that much attention from me. So I think God shut it down. He was like, we got to do something different. Y'all need to sit down, get your lives together, and know what's going on.
Right.
Because many things
Mhm.
happened that had I not been stabilized at home, I wouldn't have given that much attention to my son, to the storming of the Capitol, to the George Floyd incident, just so many things that I was so much more in tune with, that had I been running and dropping him off and trying to get to work, that it would have just been another situation for me.
That's that's a good point. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's just a different perspective. I never thought of it like that.
I mean, we're all busy trying to live our lives. And so some people say that many of the incidents that happened prior, very similar to what happened to George Floyd. I can't say that it's because we didn't give it attention. We were just busy living.
Yeah.
And COVID forced us to be attentive.
To kind of slow down, right?
Absolutely. And so, I have my own perspective about why that happened. But I know that as a result, I saw so many things that otherwise I would have just bypassed.
Right. Yeah.
And it kind of forced me to be in tune with what's going on in this country, the things we need to give more attention to, getting out and vote, changing these laws, making things happen, thinking about our children. For me, it was like, I'm telling you, other than the fact that I didn't get sick and I didn't catch COVID, for me, that was one of the things that I have nothing but positive to say. It forced me to be more in tune with life.
Wow. Very, very, very interesting, encouraging perspective.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when God wants our attention, He has a way of getting it or allowing someone to help Him to get it. And I just think it was time for us to watch and see what's going on in this country, and that needed our attention, our children, Black men, crazy people doing things that they otherwise probably would have never tried, storming the Capitol. And I live in the DC area. So I was like, OMG, this cannot really be happening. So when you're in the area and you're seeing it and you're down the street, around the corner, it has a whole different feeling. For me, it was like,
I couldn't even imagine.
Thought this, and I was blown away that I'm in this area and this actually happened. So for me, it has a very broader perspective other than COVID-19. So,
of course, wow. Let me just take a moment to Cassandra Hill. Thank you for joining us, and hello to you too. So, what else was I going to ask you? Very, very interesting perspective. This is good. I'm really enjoying this. So, before you were doing this type of work in your business, were you working in the schools at that point? Or were you
no, actually, let me tell you, Jacqueline, I actually am an HR policy manager for a government organization. But passion and purpose, they often collide. My passion is just simply people, which is why I'm into HR. But I feel like my purpose is a broader expansion of who I am. I care about children. I care about men. I care about women. I just care about this country. And it takes all of us together to move things forward. So I will never say, I think women's rights are important. I think encouraging our men to take their rightful place in this country, in our homes, is important. I think it's important to get our teenagers ready to be leaders of this country. I just think it's all important. So I'm that person. Okay. I am an HR policy manager. I've been in HR since I was 18. That's all I know. Passion and purpose, and moving that passion and purpose forward in any opportunity that I have to do that. I teach at a local college. I love it. I deal with my son, my husband. I write policy for the government. I'm a nonprofit owner. I am a business owner. All of that is passion and purpose, leading and moving it forward.
Oh, wow. You okay?
I mean, because I just feel like every day is just a gift from God to continue to move passion and purpose forward and making this country. It's making me better. It's making this country better. It's making my son better, my family, my students. I mean, I'm all that. That's just me.
Oh, I love it.
I need 4 hours of sleep, and I usually get 4 hours of sleep, and that is it for me.
And that's good for you.
And it works for me. Exactly.
Okay. All right. I get about 4 hours of sleep too, and sometimes it works. And put like this. Let me tell the truth. It doesn't usually work. I need at least 6, and then I'm good.
But I'm former military, so we've had to operate on a lot less. So I learned and I adapted, and it became my thing. And it helps me to get up at 4 a.m. and everybody is still asleep, and I can get my things started. And by the time they're up at 6, I'm good and ready and focused.
Is there anything that you haven't done? I mean, you just like blew my mind. You know, through the military out there. I mean,
You know what?
wow.
I'm gonna tell you, Queen Jacqueline, it's gonna blow your mind. I just tell people every day that God allows me to see another day, He has another thing for me to do that's in line with my purpose and my goals. And I'm just running. I'm like, Holy Spirit, speak to me what you got for me today, because I'm ready. And that's how I live it. And we ask for the Holy Spirit and God, Jesus, to speak to us. They will give us what we need to get on that road for that day, if not for the entire week. Mm-hmm. And this is how I live it. It's like I'm just excited to be a part of any opportunity that I'm given the opportunity to be a part of. Every day is something different for me. So okay. I'm that person.
All right. Awesome. So as far as the book, now I know you shared a little bit earlier, but tell us now this particular project, this isn't your first anthology, right?
No, it's not.
Okay. So what made you, what do you think, just on a broader spectrum, why do you like to participate, or what do you think are some of the benefits of participating in anthologies, and why this particular one with the visionary Kearn Cherry?
Yes, Miss Cherry gone Kearn. So I will start by saying I love the opportunity to hear the different perspectives with anthologies. And as I read my chapter and other folks' chapter, I am blessed by what they say. And I am like over the top by, I just believe God, Holy Spirit gives us what we need to bless other people. And for this one, as a woman, as a Black woman, this is our time. And being undefeated is our movement forward. Even if we cause whatever aspect of being defeated in our lives, there's always the opportunity to overcome. And as I can't just write, I have to pray, I have to think, I have to meditate. What is it that I can do to lend something to someone who's going to read my chapter? And that's why my chapter is titled Undefeated Lifetime Vision, Moving Forward with a Purpose. Because what I did was in my chapter, I was able to really own how I caused some of my downfalls, but then how I recovered as I realized, you know what, you caused that, but it's recoverable. So therefore, you're not defeated. And so for me, it was just like therapy, seriously. And that's how I started, because I did this, because I made this decision, because I knew it wasn't the will of God, because I knew it wasn't a part of my purpose, because I knew I shouldn't have moved forward. But this is how I recovered. And I say, for us as women, as Black women, just women in general, just people, is often quite challenging to own our part of where we are in our lives. But then to own it and to say, I understand I did this, this, and this, but this is how I'm going to become. This is how I'm going to move from this time forward. And that's how my chapter goes. And I'm just really excited about it because I owned it. I owned the decisions that I made, and there were consequences, which allowed me to be set back in many areas. But then I say I'm not defeated because I owned it and I moved forward. I put it to the side and I'm going to overcome it to begin to become who God has purposed me to be.
So did I hear you correctly at the beginning? You said that you feel that there are quite a few women that have difficulty. I'm paraphrasing,
women,
but difficulty, I guess, accepting their mistakes or
Yeah, or owning that we could have caused our own setbacks in life.
okay, okay,
And
okay.
I say that from the preface of being a counselor and a therapist.
Mhm.
And I often talk to people and I'm like, there's a part of that you might want to own,
Okay.
that you made a conscious decision to relationship, business decisions, attitude, whatever that you caused. So
Okay.
first, let's own what we caused and the consequences of our decisions.
Okay.
Introspection is not very easy. It's a hard pill to swallow. And I because I've been that person. And it's like, okay, own it. You did it, you made a decision, and there were consequences to that decision. No one outside of you made that decision. So now let's own it. Let's move forward and let's make better decision. So that's been my conversation with people, with parents, with youth.
Mm.
It's difficult to own what you have caused. It's easier to look out rather than in.
Mm.
It's easier to blame your husband, your friend, your BFF, whomever. It's much easier than to say, you know what, that decision really wasn't the best one for you. So own it, deal with it, move through it, and move forward. It's not easy because I have had to do that.
So let me say this. So your chapter, well, two things, three things. Your chapter will help individuals be able to or kind of walk them through being able to
Absolutely.
own their okay, so that was
Own
one
their own part in
own
where
their
they
own part
are
of whatever. Okay.
and then
So,
recover and move forward, knowing that, okay, I made these mistakes. I caused this, but now I'm going to move forward and making myself a better person. And that's why I use the term, and I love it. And I'm undefeated because
okay.
I changed my mindset. I realized that not owning blah, 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 blah didn't help me move forward. Instead, I blamed someone else when in actuality, I decided to enter into this poor relationship, this abusive relationship, whatever your enter was, you
Mhm.
made a decision to do that. So that's how my chapter starts. And it's called Undefeated, My Lifetime Vision, Moving Forward with a Purpose.
So do you think that when you were writing, were you gearing it more towards women? And then number two, why do you think people are less likely to be able to look at themselves or to own their own role?
Well, I will say to you, it's not geared towards women.
Okay.
It's geared towards people
Okay.
because sometimes I think it's difficult. And I say this because of my students. When I say, okay, so what part did you play? Then they look at me like I'm crazy. No, no, really. What part did you play? Think about it and come back to me because you played a part. No matter how minor your part was, you played a part. So it's less is it's very challenging for us to look at ourselves and say, you know what, you knew, for example, this wasn't the best relationship for you. I'm speaking for me, but you were like, oh, they'll get better. Women, a relationship, they can be a man, a friend, a woman. I know she don't really like me, but she dealing with some stuff. No, but you accepted it.
Okay.
And it became you, and it became a chapter in your life once you accept it, whatever it is. I'm very sympathetic to people, almost to my demise, and I will own that. And that has been my situation I have had to own up to and move forward from. Everybody's not ready to move forward, to heal, to own. But I've been that person like, do I need to help somebody? I feel like a damn therapist. Well, I can coach. I call myself coach. But it's like, if you need me, I want to be here for you. At some point, some people don't want to move forward. They don't want to change. I have been that person that I'm here with you to the end, to my demise. So this is me being transparent and opening up and exposing how I have led to my own defeative attitudes. At some point, you got to say, okay, if that's how you're rolling, you got to roll by yourself.
And you know what? Being a therapist, I definitely know that like some of my people that come and see me are not interested in looking at their role in anything.
Absolutely. No,
You
it's
know,
everybody
they're not interested
else's
in
problem.
changing. You
Yeah.
know, they just basically want someone to co-sign or
Yes.
use you as kind of like a sounding board or a dumping ground, if you will. You know, so
Yeah.
definitely, I know what you mean. Is in
It's
reference
my
to that.
BFS fault. It's my boyfriend fault. It's my friend fault. But never accepting, even if I just allowed this and enabled them to continue the behavior, it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been, this book has been like therapeutic to me. It allowed me to look into myself and the behaviors that I've continued to allow in hopes that it would change people, because people change when they want. What I did learn, we don't change people, they change themselves. But we allow and we enable them to continue to ride this wave of whatever it is they're riding. So that has been the journey for me. And so I'm like, oh my God, this has been such a blessing, knowing that I'm going to own the part I played in my road to being defeated. And I'm going to own the road that I went to when I decided I'm not going to be defeated by my enabling attitude, by not speaking my truth or speaking what needs to be said at any given time.
I hear that. You know what? And the thing is, or the way I look at it, is when you accept your role in it, or when you accept, accept that responsibility, that puts you in the driver's seat. And I think a
Absolutely.
lot of times people don't realize when they're busy pointing the finger at other people. Okay, so if you're sitting here in front of me and you're saying this person's a problem, that person's a problem, this person's a problem, right? So technically, following that train of thought, they are the ones that that you need to be talking to in order to fix your situation, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're not in the driver's seat; they're driving.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like and I don't even think a lot of people even necessarily follow that thought
No,
process. You have to point
they
it
don't.
out.
They
Yeah.
don't. One of my colleagues, a fellow psychologist, said, how
Mhm.
do you deal with people who need therapy and you're getting therapy because they won't get therapy? I screamed. I said, you know what? You made such a good point, because it's
Mhm.
true. They deny therapy and you're trying to help them. So you're getting therapy because you're enabling them to feel
Mhm.
like they don't need it. She's, oh my gosh, that was like this last weekend. And I said, oh my God, I never really considered it that way.
Mhm.
We're getting help for people who really need to get help for
Mhm.
themselves,
Mhm. Yep.
because everyone is not ready to do that hard job at really pointing the finger and shedding the light on
Mhm.
how they enable the situation to become what it is.
That's right.
It's hard to
Absolutely.
do that. It's like you're shining a mirror on yourself, like, and it takes a very, I would say not necessarily strong, but a very devoted person to understanding
Mhm.
people. That's where I am. I love people. That's my passion. And I like to know, in any situation, what did I do to cause this? First, before I look out, I look in.
Right.
And it hasn't always been a pretty picture,
Mhm. Yep.
but it has been a very educational picture.
Very educational. Yep. And you learn a lot.
Absolutely.
You learn a lot from that.
Absolutely. First in, then out. And you'd be surprised at things you understand. You're like, oh, well,
Mhm.
yeah, they did this, but I allowed it.
Right. I allowed it or enabled it,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and sometimes people can just go an entire lifetime without
Absolutely.
being, insightful or being honest with themselves. But
Yeah.
that point that you brought up, like you said about getting therapy because you seeing people, you trying to help them and they're not trying to help themselves. So it's like being in I work in community mental health now, but prior to that, I worked in a lot of different social service settings, and it I don't know. I mean, I guess over the years, I began to learn and grow, and it cannot be a situation where I'm working harder than you. This is your
Absolutely.
issue. This is your life. I go home to my own life.
You
And
try.
you have to want this. It's not something that I can do for you. And
Absolutely.
right. And that's how people get burnt out,
Absolutely.
you know.
You got to do the work. And I even tell my son that, son, you got to do the work. I can't do the work for you. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you. But in the end, you've got to do the work. And the first sermon, when my pastor said he has a therapist, I was freed. He said, people coming to me wanting me to provide therapy to them. Well, I can't because I have my own therapist.
Right.
I mean, because it's just, we're all at points in our lives where just having a conversation with each other, with the pastor, with the person down the street may not be enough. But know that when enough is not enough.
Right.
And seek help where needed. And in our communities, unfortunately, it was only after I got my doctorate degree that I realized that we really don't reach out past the pastor. And the pastor is burnt out too.
Right.
You know, and in some instances, not trained to provide with the services that we really need. But our communities are like, well, you know, go talk to the pastor. And the pastor like, shit, I got a therapist. I can't talk to you. I'm getting
Right.
my
Don't
help.
talk to me. Go talk to them.
Absolutely. I'm getting help too. You need to get some help. So
Yeah.
I see that perspective broadening in our communities, and I'm excited about that. Even with our teenagers and our children, the very fact that the mayor, and I will have to give the Mayor Bowser of DC a pat on the back for that, because she was the first person that I heard to actually say, we've got to help our children get back on track. And if you are a psychologist, have psychology degrees, I'm really going to need you to help me. So I got to give her a pat on the back because I hadn't heard that before. But a lot of her educators, they were in her ear and expressing some of the challenges they had as children go back, going off on each other, quoting things from the real lives of Housewives of Atlanta, which I think is inappropriate for them. But, I have my house, they have theirs. So I just have to give her those prompts. She realized that we have challenges that we're going to need this community to come together for us to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a start. Even in my home state of Maryland, I never heard that. It happens. Let's be real. Challenges exist, and we've got to come together as a village to overcome them for our future.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So I was going to ask you, so we talked a little bit about your business. We talked a little bit about your inspiration and some of your why behind what you do. And why you chose this particular project and so forth. But I'm looking, okay, we have a little more time. Let me ask you this. And then I would like for you to kind of go into sharing with, some of the other projects, that you're working on right now. But share this with me. What would you say was one of the biggest, or that you feel comfortable sharing, obstacle that you had to overcome in either your personal and or professional life?
I would tell you, Queen, that being a Black woman,
Okay.
and I'm that person that I don't look again out, I look in first. But society is what it is. And on a daily basis, I feel like I have to prove myself. I'm a Black woman with a PhD in organizational and human psychology, but I feel like daily I have to prove this is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. And I choose not to do that through being angry or upset. I choose that through my education, through my intelligence. And that's a big, I can't say why society sees us different, other than we're very strong people. And that can be very intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
When a strong African American woman of color walks in any room, there is already a preconceived notion about a behavior, what she's going to talk about, what she's going to say, who she's going to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And it blows me away because I'll go in a meeting. I'm at the senior level in the government organization, and already I know I'm like, okay, so like, how am I going to deal with these people? Because they're typically white males, and that's just life. Good, not bad, but it is what it is.
Okay.
And they already see us. Anything I say, I laugh inside because anything I say is going to come out overly abrasive or a confident or whatever or
Okay.
stated. Like, I've tried understating, overstating, medium stating. It doesn't matter. It's going to come out the same way.
Wait a minute, do you think it's really coming out the same way, or is it just it's still coming out the same, but it's still being perceived differently?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm very conscious. I'm very intentional in my delivery in every audience. So I've tried up, down, medium. How it is received is the same way. Because what I think a lot of us don't understand is our very presence is intimidating. When people understand and know what we've had to endure to become the person that we are today, they wonder, how in the heck did you do that? And my white counterparts, they have to, there are others that I talk to, and they're very honest. They're like, how could you come from slavery? Those who did the research, and then you're this person. And I'm very transparent about my humble beginnings because I believe that has made me become the person that I am. The sheer wanting to be better and to do better based on where I came from. We have conversations. They're like, what inspired you to be born of a 16-year-old high school dropout to become this person? The sheer fact that you thought I couldn't do it was what made me do it. Because I'm that person. Tell me no. I will make yes your words for the rest of your life. Because I remember the Amistad. I remember the slaves that were in the bottom of a boat and chose to die before they came to this country and be enslaved. I remember that. And their decision will not be done in vain as long as I'm alive and my children and on and on. So I think about that. The sheer fact that people chose that I will die before I will be enslaved inspired me to do better. So you say no, I got something for you.
Yeah, if they would choose death.
Absolutely.
Jump. Yeah.
Death. Yeah. But you can't, other people can understand the depth of what that means to one of us. And I will say to me, because I can't say all of us understand that depth. To me, to die before you were enslaved. So for me, the fact that someone chose death over being enslaved means that you got to choose to move forward before you are moving backward. And no matter what we do, I'm going to tell you, as long as your skin is brown and you speak with a level of intelligence, you're going to intimidate somebody.
Okay.
Because people have their notions about who we are, and we can't change their notions of preconceived. And I have a lot of these people that I talk to daily, and I love their perspective because some of them are very honest. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could walk into a room like you do, understanding that you intimidate most everybody who's around the table. And when you open your mouth, you're going to be judged. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that because I come very honest with an honest heart. But knowing that where I came from as a person, which allowed me to be around this table, I will not apologize.
That's right.
And I want to teach my son to move forward and not apologize either.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Whew, this has been so great. This has really been a good.
I know I'm deep. My husband's always like, "You're way too deep for everybody." But okay, this is who I am. Okay,
that's what your husband be telling you.
No, you go wait. It's just a conversation on the surface. You're not taking it out. Yeah, okay. Well, that's what it is, and that's why.
Like, look, that's who I am. Okay.
Absolutely, and I don't apologize for it.
I know that's right. I love it though. I love it. Oh, there's another comment. Let's see. Oh, and I'm not sure who this person is. I guess it's something with StreamYard. Um, but they're basically giving you a high five.
Oh, thank you.
They really, really appreciate it. Well, I'm glad. I appreciate it too. This is awesome. I love it. I like to have an open dialogue. An
Absolutely,
open
Queen.
exchange.
This is our year. This is the year of the woman. You know, people are trying to take our rights to make choices about our bodies away. And I'm gonna tell you, I tell everybody, when you piss us off, you about to get a change. Because what women collectively won't do is allow you to tell us what to do.
What to do. I know that's
And
right.
what I love is I think Congress has underestimated us.
That's right.
And I'm excited about this year because you pissed a bunch of women off. We about to change America.
That's right. Yep. She said,
And I
"Oh,
can't wait
underestimated
to
us."
see what happens. Absolutely.
I know that's right.
I love it.
So we have a couple more minutes left, and I have thoroughly enjoyed having you and just this dialogue and your energy, your vibe, your expertise, your insight. I love it. Hopefully we'll continue to connect, in the future. So, but for right now, with the last couple of minutes, what do you want to leave the audience with? And if you could let them know, like give them your social media handles, or if you have a website or any upcoming projects that you have in addition to this Undefeated project, which is going to be launched towards the end of this month. But go ahead and let them know where they can follow, where they can follow you, and just any last thoughts, if you will.
Yes. So I can be found on all social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and my website is letstalkaboutit.com behavior coaching. And the I Am Woman project is coming up in Atlanta. I am excited, overly excited about it. And Undefeated as well, women, that our voice matters. And we are not defeated unless we defeat ourselves. And we are powerful beyond what we can think of. And when we get pissed off, we change the world. That is absolutely all I have to end with.
When we get pissed off, we change the world. We have
Absolutely.
to underestimate it. So
Absolutely.
one last question. So what's this other project? It's called Undefeated. I mean, not Undefeated.
I Am Woman.
I Am Woman. Now what is that? Is that another anthology? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in production right now. It's actually being produced on Amazon. We have a summit coming up in Atlanta from September 30th to October 2nd in person. That one is another one very, very close to Undefeated. And it's all about women and empowerment and standing and voting and changing the world as women.
Okay. Now, you're putting this on, you and some other ladies? Or
yes, another anthology. Her name is Miss Waring in Atlanta.
Okay.
She is the visionary for I Am Woman. And it is moving forward really, really fast.
Okay. Yeah, I saw, and I don't know if it was on your page or whomever's page. I know a lot of us are friends, have mutual friends, but because I remember seeing some different postings about it. So
Lisa Waring, and the summit is from 30 September to October 2nd. And I'm telling you, this one is moving very closely in concert with Undefeated. And I'm excited about them both because they're moving in concert and they all kind of connect.
Yeah.
These women and being undefeated and just changing the world and thoughts and movement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you again for being on the show, and congratulations with both of those projects.
Thank you.
So let me go ahead and close this out. So again, thank you all so much for joining us this evening live, and also the individuals that are going to catch the replay. So I'm your host, Jacqueline Kabah Harrison, and I am your host for the A Queen's Roundtable show and podcast and the A Queen's Roundtable Leadership Symposium. So if you are ever interested in participating as a speaker, a sponsor, or you'd like to be a guest on the show or advertise on the show, reach out to me on my website, Realizing Your Potential, the number is 123.com, or you can email me at Realizing Your Potential, the number is 123@gmail.com, as well as follow me on Facebook under Realizing Your Potential, or my name, Jacqueline Harrison, and or on LinkedIn under Jacqueline Harrison. All right, so definitely let's link up. And also, but not least, I am the executive producer of the A Queens Roundtable channel on the Women Win Network, which streams on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. So if you are interested in being a show host and really, really boosting your visibility, maximum visibility, let's link up. Let's have a conversation. Let's connect. So thank you all again. And thank you again, Dr. Shirley Boykins-Bryant. And congratulations again to you and all the other co-authors and the visionary author, Kearn Cherry, aka the Butts in the Seat Queen. Thank you so much. And I honor you all. And everyone have a good rest of your evening or day whenever you watch this catch us. All right. So take care all. And I will see you all again soon. All righty. Bye-bye for now.